Hi there, welcome back on the channel. After the last week Audi, which was sort of a show car actually, today we have another Audi. Well, this one is actually stock, but by the shape of it, it's a bit more interesting in my opinion. Yeah, we have the Audi TT, which is manufactured, at least this one, in 2010 actually, and it has done about 275,000 kilometers until now. Let's have a look at the configuration of the car, because that mileage can speak for the engine that's under the bonnet actually, because you would not necessarily want to have that kind of mileage on a petrol engine. So yeah, this one is not equipped with a petrol engine, it's actually a diesel. It's the 2-liter TDI with 170 horsepower, about 350 Nm of torque, coupled with a manual gearbox and a quattro all-wheel drive system that is Haldex based, so it's front plus rear on demand. The weight of the car, to get all the specs out of the way, it's under 1.4 tons, which for a diesel with all-wheel drive system, it's quite decent. But keep in mind that the car is from 2010, so back in the day the cars were not that heavy. And yeah, the sprint from 0 to 100 happens in about 7.5 seconds. The top speed is limited to a bit over 225 kilometers per hour, and even more impressive, the consumptions are quite low actually. Outside the city you could see values as low as 5 or maybe 6 liters per 100 kilometers, a bit over, maybe 7 on the highway, and impressive enough inside the city as well, you'll just see values as high as 8 or maybe 9 liters, which once again is quite impressive. And considering the fact that yeah, it's a coupe but a 2+2 configuration, and with quite a useful amount of luggage space, if you're using it, if you're using it the right way, like the owner is with this one, mainly outside the city, so he rarely drives it inside the city, and if you can pack quite tightly your luggage, yeah, why not? I mean, it's a decent enough power plant, reliable, and with low operating costs. So I was talking about the storage, and yeah, actually this is the first downside of the car, the fact that you're not able to open the trunk from here. You don't get a command for that, you have to use the key or a button inside the cabin. But the space and the overall opening, because we do have quite of a hatchback actually, it's quite useful. As you can see, we have the usual carry-on luggage here, and I reckon you can fit about 3 or maybe 4 carry-on luggages like this one, with some additional space back here, as you can see. If I'm gonna flip my things a bit, I can show you with this actually lovely strap that we do get some additional space under the boot floor. It's actually enough for a spare tire, which once again, it's something impressive considering the dimensions of the car. Let's check out the interior space. And yeah, even though the car is a 2+2, I'm not gonna bother to try to fit back here. As you can see, the space is quite limited, and especially the head space, it's actually the problem. But for shorter trips, I mean, yeah, it's alright. The seats are the S-Line, from the S-Line model, and they're quite sporty actually, but we don't get so many adjustments, nor an extension part, and they're not electrically adjustable. Anyway, moving towards the door card, yeah, we do get quite a lot of storage space, and it's covered on this side and on the lower part at least. The material here on the armrest is quite soft, and in typical Audi fashion, up here it's sort of soft, but it's on a hard base plastic. So yeah, mixed feelings about that one. But they did something similar with newer cars as well. I'm not really sure why. Anyway, the space inside, obviously it's plentiful, because you're most likely using the car just as two-seater. Actually, let me just close the door. Quite a big door without a frame, so the door closing sound is not necessarily amazing. And also, we don't get soft materials here on the central console, and you might use this area for your knee, which could become a problem on a longer trip. But anyway, the glove box, it's covered all the way. It does have some connection in here for your phone, and the overall size, it's quite alright. Now let's check out the driver's side. Obviously, you do have some additional controls for the electric windows and the outside mirrors, the ability to lock or unlock the doors from the inside, and the aforementioned ability to open the trunk and the fuel filler cap. On the left side of the steering wheel, you have the light control, the light control actually, and the seat is identical with the one from the passenger side. If we take a look inside, this is actually the driver POV, and I'm gonna start the car as well. So I can get a bit of AC, because it's actually pretty hot outside. Yeah, the car does have an error message about the level of height of the headlights, but it's a minor issue, actually, easy to resolve. Going back to the driver POV, as I said, this is it. The steering wheel, obviously, it's quite sporty with the S-Line badging. Physical controls, once again, obviously, considering the age of the car. We have the usual stock for cruise control, the lights, and actually the wipers as well. And from here you control the gauge cluster of the car, which houses a bit of information in there. Yeah, that's quite a high consumption, but it's only on 7 kilometers, so it's not necessarily relevant. Yeah, the whole gauge cluster, obviously, it's special made for the TT. Easy to read, something Audi's used to do quite well, actually. Going further, we have the light fixture, a dimmable mirror with frame. Obviously, it's once again from 2010, the car, but it does have an infotainment, actually. One of the first MMI system from Audi, and with a small party trick, actually, to get access to the DVD player and the SD card reader. The feedback of the controls was already quite nice, even if the car is quite old nowadays. You do get the physical control for the climate unit, once again quite obvious for the period of the car. An ashtray with a 12-volt outlet, the gear selector of the manual gearbox, the ability to deactivate the stability control of the car, the hazard lights, and the ability to open or close the spoiler on the trunk lid. once again, something obvious from back in the day, the manual handbrake. A couple of, no, actually 3 cup holders, actually, with this one from the middle, but they are not adaptive, unfortunately. And a small storage space back here, which actually houses a sort of a car kit system, if you remember those from, once again, back in the day. Welcome to the driving part of the review, today with the Audi TT. And as usual, I've been driving the car for a moment. I'm already outside the city. I did encounter some roadworks, and actually that's why the A3, the car from the last week's presentation, was driven outside the city and on the motorway, actually. But I thought that the roadworks are done. Unfortunately, it's not necessarily the case. But anyway, I'm here, I'm gonna do it anyway. So yeah, getting back to the car. Actually, for the first interaction with it, it's actually quite a nice surprise. I was expecting it to be a bit harsher, a bit more rigid, considering the fact that we are running on 19 inches actually, and the tires are quite wide as well. But no, it's not the case actually. Obviously, you do sit quite low inside the cabin, and yeah, you do hear a bit of tire noise more than with some other models. And also, the whole insulation of the cabin is not impressive because we don't have frames around the windows. But even so, the interesting part is that I'm not getting a lot of wind noise, which is quite a good thing if you keep in mind the fact that the car is driven outside the city for the most part. And yeah, it's quite comfortable, reasonable enough, considering once again that it's actually a sports coupe and the tires are quite slim. In typical Audi fashion, the steering feel, it's precise, but it's quite light actually. The brakes are easy to use. You get used to them after, I don't know, 5-10 kilometers or something like that. And a nice surprise once again is the gearbox, because it's manual. Yeah, I'm more used to automatics nowadays, but it's actually quite a precise gearbox, especially if you compare it with, I don't know, some BMWs, for example. So yeah, once again, that's a plus in my opinion. I'm gonna do a short sprint, the usual one, going towards 100 kilometers per hour in a couple of moments. Obviously, we don't have driving modes or some other settings to do, so I'll just kick it in second gear. And that's pretty much it. Yeah, obviously the engine is not gonna surprise you. It's a diesel, it's a 4-cylinder, but considering the fact that the car is quite light, actually, it does have an interesting response to the throttle pedal. And yeah, at 100 kilometers per hour, it's still composed. I mean, I can barely hear some wind noise, but not from the outside mirrors, but actually from the, well, it's the C pillar, actually, B towards C pillar of the car. But even so, once again, it's comfortable enough. And yeah, I'm obviously reviewing the car without music because YouTube doesn't allow me to listen to music. So if you're using the car normally with your favorite tune, once again, it's not gonna be a problem, the noise insulation. Alright, so let's talk about the maintenance for a moment. Not really much to talk about because even though we have a diesel engine and yeah, you're supposed to do the regular oil change at around 10,000 kilometers, something like that. Maybe even less if you're using the car inside the city from time to time, or if you enjoy it and the oil is gonna heat up. But other than that, because we have a manual gearbox, it doesn't require any regular maintenance, to be honest. But the Haldex does. It's supposed to be maintained at around 60,000 kilometers. I reckon you should slice about 10,000 from that interval. Or according to the owner, he actually does the maintenance of the Haldex system every time he does the oil change for the engine. So at around 10,000 kilometers. Because he states that the cost is actually quite low, something around 80 euros. So yeah, it's better to replace the oil than to have problems with the differential, trust me. But yeah, that's pretty much it, because as I said, it's quite a light car and it's not necessarily all that important to enjoy the car at higher speeds. So you will not probably you will not have some higher costs with tires or brakes or even the suspension of the car, actually. So yeah, that combined with the consumption of the car, once again, brings the total cost of ownership at quite a low state, even though it's a premium car, it's a premium manufacturer. And yeah, you do have to be careful on some repair costs because some of the parts are common with the VW Golf or, I don't know, the A3. But on the other hand, some other repairs may be different and may require some additional costs because they're only available on the TT. And yeah, there are not so many out there compared with the regular compact cars. But other than that, yeah, it's more than accessible to own, at least this configuration. Obviously, it would be a bit more fun to have a petrol engine, especially as this generation also received the VR6 engine, the 3.2. But there, the costs would be probably triple or something like that. And once again, the owner decided to go for this configuration because he uses the car outside the city. And he does a lot of kilometers, so it's a sensible choice, actually. Alright, so that was the maintenance part. Now I'll switch to the things that I enjoy and the things that I'm not necessarily a fan. And I'll start with the positives, because yeah, I know the basis of the car, it's actually the same with the A3 and some other compact vehicles from the VW group. But even so, you do feel that you're in a special car, actually. Outside of the looks and the looks from the inside, the design from the inside of the car. But the whole feel of the car, the fact that you sit quite low inside it, the fact that you do get some bespoke parts like the gauge cluster, the vents here that you can close by rotating the ornaments. Yeah, it makes the whole feel of the car quite special, actually. And yeah, I could also mention, but that depends obviously, the condition of the car. Considering that it's 15 years old today, yeah, in 2025, and the mileage that's on the clock doesn't necessarily show the wear and tear inside the cabin. So yeah, quite impressive. Once again, it feels like a premium car, like a premium product. So in my opinion, it's something to appreciate. Other than that, yeah, considering the negatives, actually there are quite few of them. I need to mention once again the fact that you don't get the control for the trunk area on the trunk lid, which is quite a shame actually. But anyway, I don't know what was the reason behind that decision, whatever. And I also could mention the seats, because nowadays, in my opinion at least, on Audis you are getting probably one of the best seats from the premium class. And here I am missing some additional controls for the lumbar support, or that extension of the base of the seat. Don't get me wrong, I do feel comfortable inside the car, but I would have liked to have a bit more out of the sitting position. But actually that's pretty much it. In all other places and all other aspects, the car is quite nice. So yeah, in conclusion, as I said, it's quite a nice surprise. I do see it as a long trip sort of car, actually. I was not expecting that, but now I understand it. Hopefully one day I will get my hands on a TT RS with a 2.5 liter engine, or on the VR6 actually. I would enjoy that one as well. But until then, as I said, I enjoyed driving this one and I understand it. Now, if you enjoyed what you saw, please consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel, because it's free. I would appreciate to see your comment in the comment section. And until next time, thank you for watching.